Hello, today I'm going to do a video on the later Model 8 tracks like this Craig model that have the problems with the broken, cracked polyethylene white frames. And you'll see one right here, and this one, like many of them, have cracks on them. This one has them on both sides. So in this video I'll show you how to take them apart so you can take the frame out to glue it. So I have a diagram here that shows the way that the head is mounted on the posts. I don't know if it's clear. The focus on this thing hasn't been too great. But you'll see the first thing you take off is this C-clip, and then you'll see the circuit board underneath that with the wires going to the circuit board. And then you'll have the post, and there's a washer under that. And you'll see this rotating contact which programs the channel lights, and then you'll see the actual knobs on the wheel that actually catch onto the clutch that turns and raises and lowers the head, and then you'll see the spring underneath it. And then there's another variant of that where it has similar type of contacts, except these are a little different. This one has also a different kind of wheel with different kind of knobs, but they're basically the same. So you have one variant here and one here. So this says below the circuit board, the metal contacts, and I call it the star saw blade with the tabs on the side and on top. And then on the bottom you'll see an assembly, if I turn this over, for the head holder. So this one goes on the front post, the other one goes on the rear post. The rear post is the only one that has a C-clip. And so what you'll see is, here is the underside of the head, here is the large spring that raises and lowers the head, and you'll notice on the spring there's a longer stem which goes on to catches on the edge of the head alignment screw. And then there's a shorter one, and that catches onto a screw on the chassis. And so it's important that you have these in the correct side, that the long one goes here and the short one goes there. Okay. So now I'm going to attempt, if this camera cooperates, to show you how to take off the assembly. And I'll do it as best as I can here. There. So the first thing I'm going to do is undo the C-clip. And so you'll see here I have removed the C-clip, and I've also removed the washer as such. Now the way this circuit board comes off is there is an opening, a notch in the metal on the back of it that it slides into. And you just push down and you carefully try to slide this thing out, like so. And to do that you also have to push down on this white tab underneath it. So hold the tab down like here that I'm doing, and then lift this off. Some of these are easy to come off. This one's pretty easy. Some have the wire running through the white background. And so what you see just popped off, thank you, is the electrical contact. And this here fits just underneath the circuit board that I pulled off. So what you want to do is lay these on the table kind of in the order that you took them off. So I'll put the C-clip on top, the washer underneath, and this rotating circuit tab underneath that. Now what you have under that is a spring. Okay, and I stretch it a little bit just to give it a little bit of oomph because it's probably compressed for a while. Okay, then under that, and I can show you a little close up here, this is what you have now. I took the spring off, and now you have this part, which is the rotating device that raises and lowers the head. So now I'll pull that off. Now to get that off, you have to push it down, okay, and then move the clutch here so you got a space there, and then just pull it off like that. And again, put that in order, and you'll see the top of it has these little notches that catch onto the clutch, and on the bottom you'll see the little grooves and the hills and the valleys, and so that's the way the head turns with the post underneath it, which is here. You'll see this little post here. So this rides on top of that little cogwheel and pushes and lowers it. Put this wire out of the way. So now then, put that off to the side. So you've got that and the spring. And the spring is here. Careful of springs, they tend to hop out of the way. And then finally, the last thing you have is this white tab. Okay, and this works by, what happens is, the way you take it off is you lift it up. It's sort of like a T opening in the back, you'll see. See here, there's like a T. There's a slot down, and it goes up and down. So you lift it up, and you turn it, so you can pull it off, and then you lift it off. So I'll do that here. Okay, and that has a spring on the bottom, so don't lose that. And always remember, the longer part goes in the middle back. The shorter end pushes down on the head frame here, so that causes the head to go up and down. So what that does is that the wheel pushes down on this by pushing on this inner gear here. It catches onto the inner ridge on here, so it pushes it down so that the wheel can turn and push the head down, then it pops it back up. Okay, so everything is off the rear. As you can see, everything is off the rear post. So now the only thing left is to take off the head frame mount and the spring underneath it from the front post. And so I lift that up like so, and make sure the head on this one has actually come off, so I got to be careful to pull it up without damaging it. And you'll notice the spring is kind of caught on the back, this spring back here. So I'm going to slide that off and lower it. That's the head adjustment, height adjustment. So I can pull this thing off, and then there it is. So now I have the top part of this removed. Okay, and I'll place that to the side. Be careful not to scratch the head. And then here's the important part. This you need to make sure you have made a note of. This is the spring that literally raises and lowers the head. You can see it pushes on that to raise and lower the head. This side is longer, this spring piece, than this one. Okay, so this one rubs up against this screw here to the right of the post. The other side comes up under the head, which you saw here, and it pushes right there. You see this part right here? It pushes just against the screw on the inside of it. So always remember, make a note of that. And I have that written on that diagram. So that's how you disassemble the head and the post. Now, before I go to the gluing, there's certain things you want to make sure you glue on this. This is the head height adjustment. You turn this, and there go the clocks. And you want to put epoxy around this, because this can crack. I've actually seen it. And then, of course, you want to glue this part. Now, since this one is already broken off completely, just about completely, let's see how much of this is on here. Yeah, there's a tiny little amount holding on. But what you want to do is you want to take the wires from here and get them out and push them through. And this part here, okay, make a note of this. This goes up, this sits on top of the head, and this little part under here fits under the screw. So this part stays behind like this for now until you can push the wires through. So this is kind of tricky here to get. You have to feed these wires through here without breaking it any more than it is. So if you'll notice, I'm carefully trying to get these wires through. It's not easy. I'll try and take some slack off this wire here, make it easier to get to. So I'm going to run this yellow wire here and then push this through and try to get this metal bracket in. And then of course when you put it all together you have to feed all that back in. So I thought mine had broken through completely, but evidently has not. It's still holding on by a little bit. I'm debating whether I should just break it off so I can glue it easier, or I might just do that. Well, let's see. Maybe I'll leave it on. Alright. At any rate, so like I said, these can break either, they always almost break here. You can see where it's white, there's some strain there because there's a lot of pressure on this and it tends to push up on this, so that can break. Or you have a break here or here, any of the corners or both corners. So what I'm going to do is you have to now loosen this screw because you're going to have to put the head in there and then retighten it. So loosen the head mount screw. Be careful, they use this lousy lock wash on. This is this green stuff that supposedly keeps it from turning. So I'm going to try and turn this. So it's turning. I don't know how much I can do it because it's got this lousy lock wash on it. Sometimes you may have to use a flame to break the chemical off. I've actually not seen so much lock wash on one of these screws as this one. Lucky me. So let's see if I can break this crap off. I have a razor, I can maybe cut part of it off. Here's a razor. So use this. See, I've got the razor here, I'm trying to slice this thing off. And it's not coming off too easily. Okay, here we go. Yeah, they use this to, well, guess what? Just came off. Oh, well, so be it. No problem. Makes it easier to work on anyway. So let me get the rest of this junk off. See, this way I can actually do the flame treatment, which I will show you. It's part of the gluing process. But just remember which side goes where as far as reassembling it. Should be pretty easy to do. Okay, so I got that off. So I'm going to loosen this screw. As you can see, it is turning, although not easily. You have to turn very slowly, otherwise you can crack it. I might just try to turn it in and then turn it out again. Make sure you squeeze it so it doesn't crack or separate. So you'll see this lovely garbage is still on here. See if I can scrape off more of it. Okay, there's a little bit more. It might be better. Okay. See if I can unscrew it again. Doesn't have to go off all the way, just enough so that I can get the head in there and I can lower it down again to tighten it, to clear the top of the head. So there, it's coming off a little better. I'm going to raise it up about that high. That should be enough. And so here's the head, and you can tell this has got a beveled edge here, so you can tell that the beveled edge here matches that, just like that. So when I glue it together, which I'll show you in the next video, it'll look like that. Okay? So that's pretty much it for this. And so the next video I will show you how to glue the head. Also, you might want to mark here, since you see there's a notch here. This is actually the top of the head here. See where that little mark is? That means that's where the screw goes. So I put a T here just so when I put it back together, I know this is the top of the head and that's the bottom. And typically you'll see also they put a little bit of glue on the bottom of the head in addition to the screw holding it down. And I usually like to scrape some of that off, just so it slides in easily. So here, I'll do that. See that? So I'm taking off all that old lock washer glue junk. Okay, that doesn't matter. Okay, this is actually a tab. Sometimes you'll see this tab fall off. Just be aware when you disassemble, they're not always glued in like this one. Fortunately, this is glued in, but just be aware of that. And take plenty of pictures so you know how they look. Okay? Okay, I'm going to shut this off and I'm going to prepare for the gluing and how to prepare for that. Thank you.